In the last tutorial, we look at story flow elevation on Orion 18 software. We specify the elevation for our main project on the software. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you about column insertion in our model. I'm not going to use our main project for this illustration. This is part one. It will be part one of column insertion in the model. It will be part one of the tutorial. Part two, we work on our main project. My main project is Project Alpha, but I'm not working on that. I'm working on sample project, which I used to explain structural grid for you in my previous tutorial. So I will select sample project. I'll click OK to open it. So I've opened it. To insert columns in your model, there are several. You can do this from different places. You can do this from your main menu on the member tab. If I should click it, a submenu appears. I can click on column. We click on column property dialog box appear. This is one way of getting to the column property dialog box. Second way is that on the we have a member toolbar here. And member toolbar, this is the member toolbar. We can also click on the column icon here. We click on it, our column property appears. I think these are the two ways you can get column property, the column property dialog box in Orion 18. My preferred option is clicking here, clicking the member toolbar here, the column, to get to the column toolbar. I will not want to click member, then click column again. So I'll click the member, I'll click the column in my member toolbar here. So if I click on it, my column property appears. In the column property dialog box, you will see this. That's several tabs. General, mod, top, 3D. In the general, we'll start from the general. We have label 1. In Orion 18, the preset label is C. So when you see 1 here, if I should insert a column, let's say at this green intersection, to be labeled C1 because the label is 1. The preset alphabet is C. You can change it. There's a place you can make change to this alphabet. So like now, if the label is 1. So if I should insert a column here, by clicking this intersection, you can see I have 1C1. 1C1 is the label. This one donate the story we are on. We are on story 1. The C donate column, and the 1 is the label. If I should insert another column here, it will be 1C2. It will be increasing like that. So I'm going to delete the column created. I just want to explain. I'll delete it. I'll click on the column again. The column property will appear. So that's how the label works. For this length story field here, it's currently the field is currently 1. It means that when I insert a column now on my on this plan view, the column will be inserted from story 0 to story 1. However, if I change the length story to 2, it means that the column will extend 2 stories. Currently, when it's at 1, the column extends from story 1 to story 2. However, if I want the column to extend more than 1 story height, I can change. I can make that possible by changing this value here to 2. Let's say I want my column that I will insert to extend from story 1 to story 2. And story 1 to story 1, story 0 to story 1, then to story 2. That means your length story will be 2. If you want it to extend 3 stories, you change its value to 3. When it comes to, so I'll move on to the next field now. And we have B1, B2, E1, E2. These fields are used to size your column on the Orion 18 structural software interface. I'll go to this app. I'll click this app button here so to explain the B1, B2, E1, and E2 field value. So I'll click on it now. When you click on it, the Orion 18 help dialog box open. So you see this diagram here. This is the shape of our column, a rectangular column, and on the screen you will see 2 axis direction 1 axis, direction 2 axis. Direction 1 axis is the axis in the horizontal direction, while direction 2 axis is the axis in the vertical direction. What you should note here is the insertion point. For column, the insertion point is in the left corner of the column where my cursor is. You can see all dimensions are drawn reference to the left corner of the column. My B1 is reference from the left corner of the column. E1 is reference from the left. E2 is reference from the left. B3 is reference from the left. The B1 and the B2 represent the length and width of the column, while the E1 and E2 represent the position the E1. The E1 is the position of my direction 2 axis from the left hand corner, while the E2 is the position of my direction 1 axis from the left hand corner. You will understand how this E1 and E2 how we use it to position our column in our structural model in this video tutorial. So I will go back to our Orion to our Orion 18 software interface screen now. I'll close this Orion 18 app window. And we're back on our drawing. So assuming I want a width of say 300, my B1 in the horizontal direction, that's in this direction 300, my B2 in the vertical direction, so I want it on 500, and I want my E1 to be half of 300, that is 150, and my E2 to be half of 500, that is 250. Look at how if I should insert the column at this point by clicking this insertion, this grid intersection, I'll click it, you can see how it appears. You can see the column is centered along the line 1, and also the column is also centered along the line A in this direction. Assuming I want to move, so this, like from this corner to this grid is 250. This is 500. From this corner to this grid is 250. From this corner to this grid is 150. Because the column is centered on the grid line. Assuming I want to adjust the position of my grid. Say I don't want this corner to be at 250. Say I want this corner to be at 200 from the grid line. What I'll do with the column shown on the screen, I'll click on it, select it. I will right click my mouse and click on property. So I told you I want my grid line to be at 200, not at 250 from this corner point. So my E2, this is my E2. Remember, my E2 will be 200. I'll click on update to update my changes. You can see the column has moved. It's no more at the center of the column. It has moved by 50 upward. So if I want the grid line to be maybe 200 from this corner, not the total is 500, 200 from this top corner, that means our E2 will be 300, 500 minus 200. I want it 200 from this corner. I want this grid line A 200 from this corner. So from here to 200 from this corner will be 300. That is 500 minus 200. So that means my E2 will be 300. You see my column will move downward now. You can see? Now the column is 200 from this corner and 300 from this corner. 300 from this corner is our E2. You can do the same thing in this direction, the E1. Let's assume I don't want my grid line 1 to be 150 from this bottom corner of the column. Let's say I want it to be at 300 at the face of this column. I can change this 150 as my E1 to 300. It will update to the face of the column. Do you understand? Let's say I want this grid line to be at this face. I'll change it to 0 and update. You see it moves to the face of this grid. For grid line A, let's say I want the column this grid line A to be at the face of this column. I'll also change the E2 to 0. So you see how it appears. So that's how you control the position of your column on your model. This explanation is very, very important. Another thing you should note, I'll close the column property. I'll click on the column icon again. Okay, I want to explain this button to you. I have my B1 500, my B2 250. Let's say I want my column to be centered on the column. Let's say I want my column to center along a grid. If I should click this button, I will see some option. I can look at this option here, center the column on the grid. If I click on it, Let's say this is 300. I'll give it a random value. This is 450. It can be 450. It can be 450. Let's say this is 125. No, let's say this is 129. And I want my column to be centered along the grid line. So that means I want E1 to be 250, I want B2 to be 125, but I don't want to type. I can click this and this value will update automatically. You can do this for other positions along the grid. So you should try it. This, I don't know what this does. This as this blue button here denote the support at the top and bottom of our column. The column that we are inserting as story 1 connects the story 0, is drawn from story 0 to story 1. You should understand it, from story 0, from the bottom story to the top story. So that's what we are specifying when we insert column as story 1. If we want to insert column as story 2, we close column property, we go to story 2, and we insert column, we click the column icon, and we can insert column here, but this column is from story 1 to story 2. This blue icon, it denotes from the bottom, as in the support condition, column end condition. At the bottom, it is fixed, at the top, it is fixed. If it's like this at the bottom, it is pin, no moment, at the top, it is pin. You can also do pin fix. This is pin fix. This is fixed pin. So you should not tamper with this. I will advise you to always leave this setting as fix. So that's what I can tell you here. So this is what I can explain to you on the general tab, the column property. On the mode, you can denote the grade of your concrete. Now we've done a general setting for the concrete class in our run. Yeah, in our run, our build analysis in our run tab. We've specified that we want the columns to be 35. You can vary that value by giving your specifying your concrete grade for this column you want to specify. For the next column you want to specify. So you can vary that value here. You can also vary the value of your steel. Material. I advise you not to play with this. For the drop, I'm assuming the slab that we are using is a flat slab. You might want to provide column drop, as in drop panel for the flat slab. So that's when you use this drop tab. While our slab floor type is beam slab type, so we don't need to mess with this in this model. For the 3D, it denotes the elevation of our column. You know, I told you that if we're at story 2, so if we insert a column now, say here, column is the column from story 1 to story 2. But assuming we don't want the column to start at this del Z bottom. If we say 50 is in mm, if we say if we specify here 50, it means that our column will not start from the from story 1, which is 0, to start 50 mm upward. If we apply a negative value, it will drop down 50 mm. So we can lower column. We can lower column bottom, the bottom and top of our column using this 3D tab here. The top of our column, that's our story 2. We can decide that we want it to extend 1 meter from story 2. So from the top of story 2, the column will extend 1 meter up. This is how we can control the height of our column on Orion 18. I'll change this to 0. I will advise you not to play with it unless it is needed to lower columns in your drawing. We are going to actually play with this in this project. I will show you. It's going to be interesting. So I'll show you how this works on our main project. But this tutorial just explains the component of the column property dialog box. So now, say I want my B1 to be 230 by say 600. I want my E1 to be 115. I want my E2 to be 115. I can position it like this. You can see this corner is at 115. This corner is at 115. This corner is at 115 from grid line A, and this corner is also at 115 from grid line 2. You can apply multiple columns in one stroke. So I'll click on this intersection point. I'll connect here. We do that, columns will be applied to all the intersection along that grid line. And see the same property, 230 by 600. I hope you understand that. Let's say I want to reverse the direction of this column along grid line D. I can change this to 600 by 230. I want my E1 and E2 values to remain the same. I will put my cursor at the intersection D1 and I will drag to D9. You see columns are positioned in this direction. That's how you can rapidly place column on your 18 software. I think this is all you need to know about inserting column on this structural software. I've come to the end of this tutorial session. This is the part 1 session. We're going to see the application of all what I just taught now on our main project. Thank you for watching.